Now we should be live. Okay, we're live. I don't know how much of that shows at the beginning of the video. Me just sitting there talking to myself. Watching it. It says I've only been live for 14 seconds, but then I see myself getting frustrated at the camera. Okay. Okay, well, let's do this. I'm going to pop out the chat. And there we go. Here's that. And then we want to find some problems. And let me just, before I forget, switch that to the main screen. Y'all don't want to look at me. Calc 2 help, let's see. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm really qualified to tutor Calc 2. But sometimes I can do the problems. If they load. Let's let this guy simmer. He'll load. 8th grade geometry. This is really odd. Oh, I must have clicked the flare or something, and it loaded that. Okay. Let's see. How do I solve for the cost of the area of MCIA? Points Plus LLC specializes in circular paint jobs. Their most recent job is modeled in the diagram below. Paints Plus. Okay. The two circles have center G, so they're concentric. The radius GI is 4 feet, and radius MG is 6.5 feet. Okay, and the measure of angle MGC is 72 degrees. Determine the total cost to be painted, or determine the total cost B to paint area MCAI if the quoted price is $40 per square foot. Okay, there's a lot going on here. This is a pretty interesting problem, and let's see if I can solve it. All right. Oh, well, I guess I'm not going to work on this because somebody else already gave me the answer. I gotta find like a relatively new one that I can do. Otherwise, it's, I'm duplicating effort. Other people are doing really good solutions, and the OP is not coming back, that kind of a thing. I guess I could leave it for posterity, but that's boring. Oh, let me actually, I wish that YouTube would show how many people are watching the video from the, see, like now I have a viewer, I don't even know who this is. It's wild. Hey viewer, welcome to the stream. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat, because I'd rather work on something that a current viewer is interested in. Okay, so how to find a function satisfying the differential equation. That must be d theta equal to, that must be theta. So they're using theta to be, oh, yeah, I can't work on this because I really don't, this doesn't make any sense. df d0. That must be theta. Huh. I'm not sure what they're trying to express there. Okay. Thales theorem. I've never heard of that. Maybe it's Thales. Basic proportionality theorem. Oh, they posted a YouTube video. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I've solved this result using biparts integration. Okay, but the procedure is too rigorous. Oh man, that's the worst. When you know how to do it, but it's just a big messy algebra. Okay, so they give us a screenshot. Let's see. Okay, I don't like this notation. Using equation 3.17 steady state response of a system in time domain is given by, oh, I don't know this notation. I think this is a signals analysis problem, which I technically should be able to answer, but yeah, I don't know this double dotted X notation. I probably should. Let me see if I can make sense of it real quick. If you're watching this and you're like, hey, Ryan, stop solving this. Oh, hey, Sir Birdie, what's up? Do you have any questions? If you have questions, I'd rather work on your questions because you're here, you know. Or if you have any suggestions, where do you want this thing to go? This is just like my YouTube experiment. Or if you have any like crazy math subjects that you want to study, but you need a study buddy, let's do it, you know? We could do topology together. I haven't done topology. Do a little abstract algebra. That's the best. Or we could do linear algebra. I love linear algebra. It's really cool. But I definitely need to refresh on it. Yeah, post it to the subreddit. I actually saw it. I logged in there the other day and saw that I had a couple of subscribers. I was so shocked to see I had subscribers. Okay, let me go to the Glousy subreddit. All right, here we go. Yeah, like I ended up going on the subreddit and saying that I was gonna go live today, which we are live. Oh look, we got 4 members and they're all online. That's cool. Okay, so we have 4 subscribers on the subreddit. So yeah, round of applause to us. Cool. And I just don't know what to post there, honestly. I want it to be like people learning together, and even if we're not learning the same thing, you know, we can appreciate what the other person has done. I find myself spending a lot of time researching disparate topics, and then the only person I have to talk to about them is my girlfriend, and she doesn't want to hear it. So, you know, I can be overwhelming when I just start info dumping. Okay. Oh, where's the chat at? Yeah, so post the questions anywhere. If you can type them out, you can type them here. If there's a link to them, I bet you could drop it. Subreddit's good. If you want to put it in my subreddit, that's fine too. Homework help is great. Not to steal any of their subscribers away, you know. Okay. Help identifying subjects used. Let's see what that means. I'm just gonna, while you're working on that, I'm just gonna keep looking through this. You know, I'm trying to help a friend study for this test, but I'm having difficulty identifying the subject and finding resources to learn from. I have a few examples I translated below. Determine the parameter shape of the straight line with the following points. Okay. So these are 3 different problems, and they give 3-dimensional points. Yeah. The first one I'm thinking it's parametric forms need. So this is just, okay. I'll just do a text answer to this because I don't think he wants them solved. This is, okay, so sometimes you can find this material calculus course, but it is often covered in multivariable calculus texts. May find it in linear algebra. Try Larson. Okay. Vanderpool oscillator. Okay, hello, I don't want to make things long, so here it is. What I have, I don't know this notation with the two dots. Is that like, oh, those are, oh, so that's the second derivative. Okay, the second derivative u with respect to t minus omega, is that theta? Yeah. Not sure what that is. Yeah. I don't know, I don't think I've studied this. Yeah. I could probably figure it out, but that would be a lot of work. This is why I stick to like relatively easy ones on the live streams, because like even that one proof by induction I did a couple of days ago, I couldn't figure it out. I still haven't figured it out. I think I know how to do it, but I'm going to work on it offline and then try to like do it in a live stream after. Okay, so example 7. So express this polynomial as, okay. All right. Let's do this one. And Sir Birdie, if you're still here, actually let me check the subreddit and see if you posted it. Just let me know in the chat whenever you, oh, you posted it, sweet, yeah. Okay, you're the best. All right, let's work on yours. Okay, in rectangle PQRS, the ratio of PSQ to PQS is 1 to 5. Okay, I don't know, let's draw it up, let's see. All right, it's a rectangle. Okay, let me make sure you can see what I'm working on. You can. And there's the chat. Let's keep that front. We'll go over to Sketchbook. Okay. Okay, sweet. And we'll add that last screenshot. All right, so let's make a rectangle just for the start of this. I don't know how this is going to go, but we'll see. Here's a rectangle. Boom. Boom. And then put this down here. Okay, here's a rectangle. So let's call this rectangle P, Q, R, and S. All right. So I'm not big on graphing, but I think that with these geometry type things where they give you a shape, it's good to look at it. You know, your visual intuition actually does help with this quite a bit. So the ratio of angle PSQ. So here, let's cut this with a diagonal because we've got angle PSQ here. So okay, so this is angle PSQ to PQS, and this is the second angle that we care about, is 1 to 5. Okay. So So let's label, so PSQ is the 1. So let's label that X. And then PQS is the 5 in this ratio here, right? So let's call this 5X. And that's the ratio that we're given. Now this angle, because it's a rectangle, has to be 90 degrees, right? So we can make a nice little expression with this knowledge in mind. So let me just drag this off to the side. Okay, here's our rectangle for reference. All right, so what's the sum of the interior angles of a triangle? 180 degrees. This is a right angle, so its measure is 90 degrees, so we can take 90 off of that. So these two are complementary, okay? That means x plus 5x is equal to 90 degrees, okay? So then x plus 5x, those are like terms, so we can combine those, make those 6x, which equals 90 degrees. Oops. 90 degrees. And then we'll divide both sides by 6, and we get 90 degrees divided by 6, which these both have a factor of 3, so this is 30 degrees over 2, and then these both have a factor of 2. This becomes 15 degrees. And so x is 15, okay, but that's this angle, PSQ, and they want the size of QSR. QSR. So this line is parallel to this line because it's a rectangle, which makes these guys opposite interior, okay? And let me know in the chat if you aren't familiar with opposite interior angles. But actually, I'll roll with that, but this should be equal to, this should also be 5x, okay, these two. And you can see that, right? Like, this is a right angle, the angle that has x and 5x here, okay? And so x plus this angle, where I've written 5x, I never realized how so many things required algebra to solve. Yeah, that's true. You know, algebra is really the language of modern mathematics. And it's how you make your argument in a lot of cases. Eventually, you're going to lean less heavily on the algebra, and you'll be able to just work with the verbal arguments. I find that it becomes easier for me to do that. But sometimes I just need the algebra. I need to be able to see it worked. And this expression that I made here, right? You probably could have solved this in your head. You know, if you had a nice picture of what was going on, you probably could have solved this in your head and just figured out what x is by this ratio. But me writing like, okay, what is the thing I don't know? Well, it's whatever the 1 is in the 1 to 5. And then writing this algebraic expression, like, offloads that from my short-term memory onto the page, and now I can work symbolically. And working symbolically is something you've been training to do since you started taking algebra. Really since you're, you know, first or second grade when you started learning how to add. So the first thing I do is try to make a sentence. This is this angle plus this angle equals 90 degrees because they're complementary, right? So I have two complementary angles. That means their sum is equal to 90. Now, once I know this angle plus 5 times this angle is equal to 90, then I can just write that down, and x is this angle, right? So just get it off your brain onto the paper. Now, the last thing, once we get x, we're not solved. We need to get this, but these are also complementary angles, right? Complementary, is it complement? Supplement is EME, so I think maybe it's like this. I don't know. I'm not a spelling tutor. Complementary, and this might be an E, who knows, is the one where their sums add up to 90. So my first geometry teacher showed me this trick. Supplementary, which is spelled this way for sure. Supplementary, they add up to 180. Okay, and that's how you can remember the difference between those two. So these are also complements, since this angle here is a right angle, right? And if you were doing like a nice proof, you would take a couple of steps to make that argument, but we're not doing a proof. So we know that this QSR, which is actually the measure of the angle that we're looking for, is the same as this one, okay? And we know what x is. Those are both 5x. So x is 15. So we want to evaluate 5x, which is equal to 5 times 15 degrees, okay? We're just evaluating. And then this is 5 times 10, which is 50, plus 5 times 5, which is 25. So this is 75 degrees. And let's see, do these add up together and make 90? Yes, they do. All right, so this is the answer to our question right there. What do you think? Does that make sense? Sorry, it's starting to warm up as we get into the spring. I'm going to have to go away from the flannel shirts. They're too hot for math. All right. If you have any other ones, keep posting them. Keep hitting them. Keep sending them to me. That was a great question. And I'm going to respond to it in the, oh, actually, I probably already have it open. Oh, well, I opened it again. I'm going to respond to it. I'm just going to drop the live stream in there if anyone comes along to it later. Let's see, so let's say, I don't remember exactly when we started, but just leave a link for if anyone comes by later. Oh, you know what might be a good idea is maybe maybe post the questions as links inside a comment on the live stream post. So that way it'll automatically get linked to the live stream. Let me, okay, let me edit this. And put a link. Okay, here we are. So there's that. Let's see where, spelling this class of 20. Okay, so there are 6 more girls. Oh, so you're doing ratios. Okay, so let's see. This is a good question. All right. Sketchbook, let me pull this back to the front. Great questions today. What class are you taking right now? All right. So let's let G equal, oh no, let's let B equal the number of boys. Okay. This first sentence tells us there are 6 more girls than boys. So however many boys there are, okay, the number of girls equals boys plus 6. Okay. And then, so we know the number of boys plus the number of girls equals the number of pupils. Now, that's not strictly true in the sense that there are people who identify with other genders, but let's just assume there are only boys and girls in there. All right, so we've got boys plus girls equals 24 pupils, okay? But we can make a substitution here and get this all in terms of one variable. Okay, we can say boys plus, and I'm going to put parentheses around so you see what I'm substituting for, okay? Boys plus girls. Now I can use the associative property and I can just remove these parentheses here. So I get B plus 6. Oh, okay. Is this an algebra class? Are you in algebra? What grade are you in? So B plus B is 2B plus 6, okay? And these are all equal to 24, right? We haven't lost that. So 2b plus 6 equals 24. Now I can transpose this 6 over to the other side. I'll subtract 6 from both sides. Okay, I'll carry this up here. That becomes 2b equal to 24 minus 6, which is 18. And then we'll divide by 2 on both sides. Divide by 2, and we get 9. So b equals 9. So the number of boys is 9. Now, this feels like we're done, but we're actually not done. Let's look back to the question and see what it asked. What is the ratio of girls to boys? So we need a ratio. Now, if boys equal 9, how many girls do we have? Well, girls equals boys plus 6, okay? But we have b equal to 9 here, so we can make a substitution for b. And so it's 9 plus 6, which is equal to 15. So the ratio of boys to girls is 9 to 15. Now that is probably not one of your answers. Let's see. This is not one of your answers. But we notice that these both have a factor of 3 in them. 3 times 3 and 3 times 5. And so we can just get rid of one of those. If there's a factor of the same on each side, we can get rid of it. So this is 3 to 5. So the answer, the ultimate answer is 3 to 5. Hey, what's up? Look, we got this. This is a new person. This is awesome. This is really exciting. Dude, I'm so stoked that we have this many people in the video right now. Let me actually, I shouldn't look, but I'm gonna look and see how many people are actually watching. 3 people. That's amazing. Let me check the. I'm gonna mispronounce your name. I think it's Fartoon. If you see the subreddit here, where did I close it? Here, let me pull it back up. Okay, so let's go. So the subreddit is this reddit.com/r/Glauxy, Glaux, and feel free to post in this live stream. It's near the top. It's the second from the top. Sir Birdie's is the next one. But if you need to put an image or something like that, you can put an Imgur link in here and just drop it as a comment in there and tell us in the chat to go to it. Yeah, keep posting questions, y'all. Whoever's next, I'll just hit the next one. And you guys let me know if this format is working for you. Like, what do y'all want to see from this channel? Oh, 3 to 5. 3 to 5. Let me post it in there so you see it. And if you get a little confused on it and you want to go back and look again, you know, I think you'll be able to rewind now, but if you want to stay current in the video, once this posts, you should be able to, or once we finish the live stream, it'll post, and you can scrub back and see anything you want to see. Did you see all the way up to the end when we had 9 to 15, and then we reduced it to 3 to 5? Check the subreddit. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, thank you for the questions, y'all. Okay, cool. Yeah, that 3 to 5 is the final answer, which I think, yeah, that's the last answer that they gave you. And if there's any like conceptual things that I'm not explaining fully, that you don't quite understand, stop me immediately. Let me, hit me with those questions. Like, I don't understand that step that you just did. Maybe I did some algebra and I didn't show, that I could put some more steps in there for you. Anything like that, just let me know. It's a little bit slow interacting from me to you, but when you guys put it in the chat, I see it immediately. Okay. You still with us, Fartun? Oh, this is what I was, okay, that's what I got. Let me see. Boom. Okay, here we go. Jack and Jill played a game for 2 people. In each game, the winner was rewarded 2 points, okay, and the loser 1 point. No games were drawn. Okay, Jack won exactly 4 games, and Jill had a final score of 10 points. Okay, so we can make some equations out of this. So, Sir Birdie, this is actually kind of relative to what you were. How many games did they play? The options 5, 6, 7, 8 impossible to determine. Oops. Okay, we might be able to determine this. Let's make some equations out of it. So we want to go. Oops. There we go. All right. So I'm going to add this as an image here. All right, here we are. So let's read the question again. Jack and Jill played a game for 2 people. Okay. In each game, the winner was rewarded 2 points. So winner, 2 points. Loser, 1 point. Okay. No games were drawn. Jack won 4 games, and Jill had a final. Okay. Jack won 4. Jill has final score of 10 points. Okay, so we need to make some expressions out of this. So let's figure out what's actually unknown. Let's let J here. Let J be equal to number of Jack's wins. Number of Jack's wins. Okay. And how many games did they play? Oh, so this may be impossible to determine. Let's see. Oh, thank you. That's really great. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Keep posting questions. That's what's making it good, frankly. Just the interaction with you guys. And then let's so it's Jack and Jill. Okay, so I'm going to make, instead of K, since we have Jack and Jill, or instead of J, since they have the same initial, I'm going to call this K and this L. So this is for Jack and this is for Jill. So this will be the number of Jill's wins. Okay. So now that we have some variables, it's a lot easier for us to write expressions. So let's write one statement about their number of points. Okay. So we can say that, oh, you know what? This might be, I think this might have no solution because there's too many unknowns. If we knew the number of games that they played, we don't know the number of games that they played. Oh, thank you, Sir Birdie. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. Tell your friends, hopefully I'll be able to answer all the questions. I think this one actually has no solution. So the issue is we can say that the number of games played is what we don't know. And because of that, I don't think this can be solved. So we know Jack won 4. So 4 times K is the number of points he got from winning. But 1 Yeah, we don't, there's 3 unknowns. Jill has 10 points total. Jack won 4 games. So that means Jill lost 4. Okay, let's make, so we have Jack wins. Let's call Jack wins K sub 1 and Jill wins L sub 1. And then let's say K sub 2 is Jack losses. These are his losses. And then L sub 2 is the number of Jill's losses. Okay, so we know that Jill, let's say Jill's losses plus Jill's wins, okay, will determine her number of points. Now, she has a total of 10 points, okay? And we know that Jack won 4 games, which means Jill lost 4 games. So 4 times L2 will give us the number of points she wins from losing. So, or actually, we can just put 4. We can just put 4. So the number of, she lost 4 times, you get 1 point per loss, okay? And that gives us this statement here. Okay, so then we know that she must have, this is her number of wins. We know that the total points that come from her wins is going to be equal to 10 minus 4. Well, minus 4 is 6. So this, I set this variable as the number of wins, but let's keep in mind the statement that I just wrote here. She won a certain number of games, and out of those games, she got 6 points. So since she gets 2 points per win, we can just divide this by 2, and that gives us her number of wins. So Jill won 3 games. She lost 4, and she won 3, which means they played 7 games. So Jill lost 4, won 3. What is our actual question? How many games did they play? So they played 7. Yeah. So a Discord server is a great idea. I love that idea. And I think that you guys could ask more direct questions. I have not set up a server. I suppose I could play around with that tonight at the end of the stream, and we could reconvene tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, I mean, I can basically do this every day. I'm already tutoring every day. Actually, let me just check something real quick. Yeah. My full I just tutor. That's all I do, and I would prefer to just tutor people on YouTube, frankly, because it's a little bit exhausting to find clients all the time. But yeah, the Discord server is a great idea. So the thought that I had, and tell me what you guys think of this, since you're essentially like the community at this point, is I would send a link to subscribers, which would be like a private link to a YouTube stream. And then you guys could ask your questions like this, and afterwards we would publish it to everyone. But I wanted to do more of like a long class, you know, so I don't know what course you guys are taking, but if you're in algebra, I wanted to do just like an entire algebra course. Or we could do something over the summer where whatever you're taking next year, we would just get you ready for that. Something like that, spend 2-3 hours a week over the course of a couple of days, and just do algebra or do geometry or algebra 2, whatever is your next course. And then once it's all said and done, we could just publish those videos so everyone could enjoy them. But it would be like a reward for the early subscribers that we have now. Let me know. I'm open to anything. I have been going live every day. So normally during the day I teach at a community college. I'm a tutor at a community college, and then at night I tutor online. very similar to this. It's like a screencast thing, but it's with one person at a time, and they have a video and I have a video of our images. But since the coronavirus thing's been going on, I've just been going live every day and doing homework. Yeah. Fartun, did that answer your question, how I got to 7 there? I think I set up the variable poorly, so I just want to make sure that you followed my argument there. So let's see, what did I end up saying? My expression ended up being different than this. I said, so let's make L is equal to the number of Jill's points from losses. Okay, great. I'll stop talking over that again. So if it helped you, that's all that really matters. And you're very welcome. Thank you for the question. Just your guys' interaction is super helpful to grow the channel. And ultimately my goal is just to build up a community of people that study math together. That's what I'm interested in right now. And I want a lot of people who have my same approach of just like helping and risking something, because it's a risk, to do math in front of people. You might embarrass yourself. I do it all the time. Okay, so if you guys have questions, keep sending them to me. I'm going to keep looking for stuff on here. Yeah, add me on Discord. Let me actually, I have a Discord. Let me figure out what it is real quick. 1 sec. And we can work on this offline, Sir Birdie, like setting up a Discord situation, because I think that's a phenomenal idea. I was kind of in the realm of that idea as well, but I think I like where your head's at. Especially I'm thinking like if I could just adopt an entire class of people, you know what I mean? I don't know if you guys are co-located, if you go to the same school, but I would love to just adopt a class, especially if you're having, you guys aren't connecting with your teacher in school, or even right now, no one has a teacher, unfortunately, since everybody's learning online. It would be good to just come in there and help you all succeed. And just build up a community around that. It'd be a nice like starter. Oh my goodness. So Discord is connecting. I'll let you know what it is when it gets connected. You guys have any more problems? I'm going to keep searching on the homework help subreddit unless you have any. Man, Discord is being slow. I'm not really sure what's going on. Match each graph with the function it represents. Do not use a graphing calculator and online graphing tool. Justify your reasoning. Okay, I found an interesting one here that doesn't look like it's answered yet, if you guys are curious. This looks more of like a algebra 2 or a calculus thing. Oh man, my computer is so slow. Discord is not being cooperative right now. I think my computer is just so taxed from having like the stream going. OBS is running, Sketchbook's running, YouTube's running. Okay. Okay, let me actually. Oh, okay. Looks like, okay, here's Discord. Well, how do I share my account to you? Did I just give you my username on Discord? I only had it because I was playing a game with some friends, and I used it like one time. Okay. Oh, hashtag. Okay. Let me figure that out. Hashtag. Did I copy it? Oh, boom. Okay, here we go. I'll post it here. I mean, I don't use Discord for anything, so boom, we're public with it. That's my Discord. So add me, do whatever. I guess I'm fully in the social media now. This is like, so Reddit and YouTube are the only social media I have. I deleted everything a while ago. All right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this other question. Are you guys cool with that, or do you have a question to ask? All right, let me do this one real quick. This is a fast one. I'll just do it for him. Okay, make sure we can see the video. Good. All right, let's, oops. Shrink this guy down. Okay. So we need to match the graph with the function here. Okay. And Sir Birdie and Fartoon, I don't know if you guys are, this is like pre-calculus type stuff or algebra 2 type stuff. No, number 4, by the way. Okay, let me, I'll add you in a second. That's a cool name. All right, so let's try to find this one. This is x, this is f of x equal to x minus 3 squared minus 1. Now, the first thing to notice here is the highest degree exponent of this polynomial is a 2. So this is a quadratic. Now, it's not in that form that you're used to, the ax squared plus bx plus c form, okay, where a, b, and c, those are just numbers, okay, they're just real numbers. Normally, you would see it like this. So you may not have noticed that this is a quadratic initially, but this is a quadratic, totally. Now, in this form that it's written here, we can see the transformations. We can see that since, let's write the base function, right? Let's write it as g of x. We'll say it's g of x. Okay, the base function is x squared, right? Now, this shifts to the right 3. Inside the argument of the function, if I make this g of x minus 3, okay, this becomes x minus 3 squared. What does this do? It shifts it to the right 3, okay? Then what does, and actually let me start here. We'll say g of x equals x squared. Then I want to do g of x minus 3. same as before. This means x minus 3 squared. And then, so this shifts us to the right. It's backwards inside the argument of the function. In between these parentheses is called the argument, okay? We shift it to the right 3. And then I want to add 3 outside the argument. Or I'm sorry, I want to subtract 1 outside the argument. And then this becomes x minus 3 squared minus 1. This is a downshift by 1, okay, since it's outside the argument of this function. Now, the transformation is we shift right, 3, and we shift down. That's this purple parabola, 3. So this is number 3. Let me see what's saying in the chat. For some reason I'm watching it is very delayed, but with people on other devices it is fine. Huh. So I can do physics. Physics 1 I'm like pretty solid with. Physics 2, you know, send me the question ahead of time, right? If you send me the question ahead of time, then I'm definitely going to be able to do it. I just need to work with them. But, you know, most of the time I'll be able to do them live. I do tutor a little bit of physics here and there. Not lately since the coronavirus thing started, because my students are just not in class anymore, you know, so they're not want to pay for tutoring. But there's always YouTube. Oops. Okay, so that's the first one. Now let's look at the next one. So we're doing this function here, g of x. So we'll start with g of x. I'm going to change it to f of x now, just because we need a different function. Okay, so here's a function f, and I'm going to say that it's our base function, x squared. This is also a quadratic, just the same as before. Now, what do they do inside the argument? They shift this, and I'll put the parentheses here so it's obvious. They do a plus 3 inside the argument. This is a shift to the left. Now, when you do it inside the argument of the function, it's backwards from what you'd expect. Subtracting is moving to the right, and adding is moving to the left, okay? Confusingly. But once you get used to that, it's really not too bad. So then the next thing they do is they do a minus 4, but they do it outside of the function, outside of the argument of the function here. So this is a minus 4, which gives us x plus 3 squared minus 4. Now when you do it outside the argument, it affects the y direction, so it's the up and the down. Okay, it's the same for multiplication and for addition. If you add inside the argument, it moves to the left. If you add outside the argument, it moves up. Okay, so inside the argument affects the x, outside affects the y. Multiplications are stretches or shrinks, and additions and subtractions are shifts. Okay, so this is a shift to the left 3, and then a shift down 4. Let's see. So a left 3 and a down 4. And so that's this parabola here, which they're calling parabola 1. So this is number 1. The first one, this is 3. Ooh, change color. Number 3 and number 1. Let's see what's going on. Okay. And so let's do h now. I'm going to continue with this using f. I just am using f. That's not the same f that they're giving us in the problem. I'm just using f as our base graph here. And then I'm doing the transformations until I get to h here, for example. Okay, so now with this one, they take f of x plus 2, which is equal to x plus 2, right, squared. And then you can see that they multiply outside of the function. They do a minus here, which makes a minus here. Okay, so this becomes negative f of x plus 2 equal to negative x plus 2 squared. And then they add 9, okay, which is a, so this is a, affects the y since it's outside the argument of the function. This affects the y values. And they multiplied by a negative 1, which flips it across, it flips it across the x-axis. Okay, it affects the y, so it reflects it across the x-axis. And then lastly, they add 9 to both sides. Okay, so we get negative f of x plus 2 equal to negative x plus 2 squared plus 9. So this is equal to h of x. This is what you're given. okay? So first we shifted it to the left 2. That's what the plus 2 inside the argument does, okay? Then we reflect it across the x-axis. That's what the -1 outside the argument does, okay, when you multiply by -1 outside the argument. Then we shift it up 9. That's what the plus 9 outside the argument does. So that looks like this one to me. Here's the vertex. I'm just following the vertex around. Shifted the left 2, reflected it, so that would make it down, and then shift the whole reflected down thing up 9. And that's this one here. Or I'm sorry, that's the yellow one, which is this parabola number 4. Okay. So it's important to just watch these track. And so by process of elimination, there's only 2 left, but let's see if we can see that. This is a shift right by 2, reflect across the x-axis, and then shift 4. So it's upside down, which means it was reflected across the x-axis. And then here the vertex is shifted up 4, and it had been shifted 2 to the right. Okay, so that's that. Whoever this user is, if you come into the chat and let me know whether or not that is sufficiently answered, that'd be great. Okay. All right, cool. So let me check real quick and see if I got you on the Discord. Friends, pending. Boom, that's you. Okay, accepted. All right. So yeah, now we can collaborate on that later. We can make a Discord server. Okay. Do you guys have any other questions? And just regarding that lag, I'm not really sure what's going on. The internet is so taxed right now. The infrastructure is just so taxed with everybody being at home. I'm really lucky. Like by 2:30, 3 o'clock today, the internet gets so bad that I can't really stream. Like my clients that pay get disconnected constantly, and we just have to refresh and go back in, refresh and go back in. It's really frustrating, but this is working well, which is good. So I'm glad you guys are working on math now. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. Yeah, post a physics question. Let's see if I can help it. I don't know. Let me check and see how long we've been streaming here. Okay, we're only an hour in. I think we'll probably take a break at an hour and a half. And maybe I'll come back later. I don't know. Okay. These questions break my heart. I don't get it. Let me check this post and see if anybody's posting in here. Yeah, if one of you guys Sir Birdie, especially if you're into this idea, I'll make you an admin of that subreddit so you can help me build it. I'm going to do, that's that. I'm going to do this one. Let's see if anybody posted. Okay, what is the area of the circle in terms of radius? Diameter. So what is the diameter? Okay, so this Redditor posts so many responses. I see them all over. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Yeah, that's frustrating. How do I compare gravitational fields and electrical fields? Oh. What do you mean, how do you compare them? Clear that question up for me a little bit. How do you compare them? That's the part I don't understand. The features. Well, let's look at the formulas, because a lot of times those are illuminating. So let me pull them up, because I don't have all of the physics formulas memorized. Oh yeah, it's okay. It's not really delayed from your end. I think it's delayed from. I mean, there's some latency on both ends, but it's like the message. So my video goes from me to YouTube to you. So there's some delay from me to YouTube, and then a delay from YouTube to you, and then by the time you see the video and respond, it's like the chat probably comes in instantly. So really, it's the delay getting to you. It's not really your delay. So let's see, I want to look at this one. Okay. And then so these questions are kind of tough because oh, does this give them both? That would be great. Oh, here we go. This is perfect. Okay, I've got a visual for you. Yeah. All right, so let me go to here, chat, boom. Let's bring it back. Okay. Let me add this image in here. This will really like show you, and I'm not sure exactly how they want you to answer this question. Oh yeah, I mean physics can be really tough. If you don't connect with your professor well, it's not a very fun subject. But what I would say is that notice all of the math in it, and if you like the math, notice all of the math in it, and then try to find these phenomenon that they're describing in your physics class in the natural world around you. Look for them. Pay very close attention to things that are happening, and you'll start to really appreciate it a lot more. How can I describe what I'm seeing in real life mathematically? Yeah, send us a picture. I think you could probably send it on Discord since I added you, right? Or you could even just drop an Imgur link if you want. So let me show you this while you're doing that. So let's look at, here's the electrical field, here's the gravitational field, right? So these are all, in the column here, these are all describing the electrical field, these are all describing the gravitational field. Now these equations come from field theory, which you'll not study for a while, and probably not unless you study math. I guess you'll get exposed to it in physics. But let's look at this line here. So for the electric field, we have this number. Okay, that's a constant number that is peculiar to the electric field. Okay, and then you have this, which is a constant number. That's the universal gravitational constant. Okay, those are just two numbers. You can think of them as 7 if it helps you. Okay, and then here you've got 2 point charges, and here you've got 2 point masses. Now, masses aren't actually points, right? We just conceptualize them as points. We assign the point's position in space by the center of gravity of whatever thing you have. So it's center of mass, okay? So then here's point charges, and those work the same way. And then in the denominator, you've got the distance squared between those two things. So what this is saying is that the field strength, or I'm sorry, the force between these two things, okay? The force between these charge 1 and charge 2, and the force between mass 1 and mass 2 is inversely proportional to the distance squared between those two points. And then you multiply that by some constant. And this constant is just the number that makes the rest of the equation true. Okay, sent it on Discord. Boom, 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 boom. Sent it on Discord. Yeah. So what I'm finding now with my students is that they're doing physics earlier and earlier. Like they're doing physics as freshmen in high school, which to me is just wild. I don't know why you'd want to do physics before you've taken calculus. It doesn't make any sense to do that. Okay, so let me see. So there's a question here. So in a thundercloud, air moves around, producing regions that have a positive and negative charge. Electrons jump from one charged area to another, and this produces a big current. So moving electrons produce a current. And it sounds like a flow, right? Current, which quickly heats the air. You see lightning and hear thunder. So when that sudden movement of electrical charges, like the electrons, jump from one cloud to another, we experience that as a flash of light and a loud noise because it's energetic and it rapidly expands the air. So it can cause a concussive wave that impacts our ear. That's what we experience as thunder. Oh, whoa. Okay. Yeah, that's wild. What country are y'all from? And then, so what is an electric field? An electric field. Man, that's... So the thing with these theories is that they are so self-referential. You know, you take something as your assumption, which is like a charge, okay, and then you build the rest of it around that. So what is an electric field? So the electric field is the thing that if you put a charge in it, it causes there to be a force on the charge. That's why I said it's like so self-referential. Okay, you guys in the UK. Okay, cool. I was just worried that maybe my English was too idiomatic or something, but you guys are, yeah. If there's any like communication issue, just let me know. Okay, boom, 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 boom. So now this you guys can see what I'm gesticulating with my mouse. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay, we're good. This is a magnetic field, okay? Oh, they're saying that this is an actual electric field. So they're putting these pepper grains, which are little tiny particles that have very little mass. And so if there's an electric field and those things are affected by the electric field, they will line up on these lines of flux in the electric field. Okay, lines of flux never intersect, but they're not straight. So they're this weird parallel thing that's not parallel. I don't know what this atomic puzzle is that's really dumb and infantilizing. Okay, keywords: electric charge, positive, negative, attract, repel, atom, proton, electron, neutron, neutral, current, lightning, electric field. I think you probably understand all of those. Okay, so let's look at these summary questions. Copy and complete the sentences below. There are two types of electric charge: positive charge and negative charge. When you rub a polythene, I'm not sure, this is like a plastic rod with a cloth, you transfer negative charges from, electrons from the cloth to the rod. And two polythene, I'm not sure what that substance is, it's like a plastic, it's that clear plastic that they use for this experiment. When two polythene rods would, so if they're both negative, they would repel if you brought them close together. And it would attract a rod that has a positive charge. Let's see what you said here. I'll graph this before this question. Yeah, so you're asking a philosophical question. Okay. The issue is that the body of knowledge, yeah. Did you guess correctly? This textbook is terrible, by the way. I can see the issue is it's hard for me to know where your math skills are at because you guys have a different curriculum than we do. But I think you could really benefit from a better textbook. There are some free ones online. Let me drop this. Stacks.org. Check out openstacks.org. They have great open source free textbooks. You can download them, or you can just use the web app. It's phenomenal. Okay. So positive attracts negative, and negative repels negative. Okay, so if the charges are like, they repel each other. If they are opposite, then they attract each other. So that's the main thing. Just the same way that you would deal with magnets. If you have the North Pole and the South Pole, they'll connect. If you have North Pole, they'll repel. Okay, and that deals with that flux, those lines of flux. When you put the charge in the field has a force on the charge. So I dropped you a link to that website that has phenomenal textbooks. They have math textbooks. I use their math textbooks for calculus. And then they have physics textbooks, which I haven't really looked through as much, but they looked great when I kind of briefly looked at them. And so you guys are not getting it as deep into this as I thought you were. So maybe this is too much detail for you. But you can see, if you look at the shape of these equations here, Q is analogous to M, and this is just a constant here. It's the same constant above, right? This is just a constant. Here's the gravitational constant, right? This is the field strength, and it doesn't take into account the other charge. This reminds me, why do wires have... yeah. So there's a thing when current moves through a wire that the motion of the current moving through a wire induces a magnetic field around the wire, okay? And so let me draw a picture of this and see. This is not my forte, but I have studied this in school. So let's suppose we have a wire, and there's a current moving through the wire in this direction. You're going to get a current around the wire, okay? You're going to induce a magnetic field. You're going to induce a magnetic field around the wire. And I might be wrong on the direction because it actually would be in a certain direction, but it's going to go down the length of this wire, and there's going to be a magnetic field induced. Now let's imagine what would happen when you coil it. So let's coil our wire now, and our current is moving down the wire. So now what's happening is we're getting this kind of a thing happening, but it's causing, essentially, on this side, the current is going to go up, or the field is going to go up through the magnet, and that's going to happen all the way through. So what you get is the wires, when you put them close together, they essentially form a cylinder. Okay, and so here's a cylinder, and each one of these wires causes the magnetic field to go up through this thing. Okay, and so you get basically magnetic flux lines coming out like this because of the induced current of the wires. All right, so here's a magnetic flux lines. So this is your magnetic field. And then when you stick a ferromagnetic substance, like an iron rod, into this coil, that's going to provide a core. And ferromagnetic substances are really, really magnetic. Their atomic structure aligns, and they make a nice field. And so that's why it's just a property of the material, and it's not really something to feel anything about. It's just interesting to notice. Hopefully that answered your question. There are phenomenal, really, really, really good illustrations of this online and GIFs and things like that. do a couple of little searches and you'll find something really good. Just remind me, why does wires? Oh, okay, so that's the same question. Does that answer your question? And you know, we talk about electromagnetism. Electricity and magnetism have an interplay, and that's why, you know, current causes, like flowing charge causes an magnetic field, and likewise, if you move a magnetic field near a wire, it causes a flowing current. So we can induce them in each other. They have an inductive relationship, which is really, really interesting. Again, not my specific forte, but I did take physics 1 and 2 and some other physics classes, but they didn't relate to this. Yeah, keep hitting me with the questions. I'm gonna look on Reddit while you guys think of more questions. Let's see if anybody posted here. Probably not. Nobody's gonna post here, but. Okay, not gonna do that one. Yeah, our school system is really, really different. But I will say that it's changed so much. So I'm in my 30s, and when I was your age, the school system here was very, very different than it is now. I'm finding that the math that they're doing is more advanced earlier, and they're doing physics earlier than they did when I took it. But they're doing it with algebra, just algebra, which is not the way to study physics. You should study physics once you've learned calculus. But you know, really, you guys are in middle school, so you're just getting exposed to these topics. Like, it's just so that you get the idea of positive and negative charge and electron in your head. You don't really need to know everything about it. It's going to come back up. It's going to come back up for the rest of your life. You're going to have more and more exposure to it, more opportunities to learn about it. But the idea is that when you're 19 or 20 and you really do an in-depth study of this, you will have those words in your consciousness that have been there since you were 12, 13, 14, and it'll be less difficult for you to, you won't get such a negative response to that when you hear new words. So I think it's good to expose you to it, but don't stress about it. Like, this is not the last time you're going to learn about electricity and magnetism. It's more like to make you believe that it exists than to know everything about it. Yeah, it looks like there's nothing really going on in the homework help subreddit. Did I refresh it? I think I did. No. Yeah, that's it. All right. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you have any more questions? Should we call it for the day? We can come back later, I guess. I think it's just me and you now. I think it's lunchtime for me. Okay, so yeah, send me something on Discord and let's talk about it. Let's see how we can turn this into like we'll do something on a Discord server with a whole class or something like that. I'd be interested in doing that. I'm open to hearing your suggestions because you're very engaged, which is cool, and sharing with your friends. So however I can help you, let me know. and then we'll talk about it and see if we can come to some plan. All right, I'm going to sign off. I'll see y'all next time.